My phone's on vibrate, but...
Call the September 24th Health and Human Services Committee meeting to order. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to address us? Nope. So, we'll go on into the resolutions.
First resolution this evening is appointing member of the Office of Aging Advisory Council.
Is there a motion? Mr. Nabuanek, second. Mr. Maxon. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I'm sorry, Bobby, how did you vote? Next resolution, amending the 2019 county budget relative to public health department accounts for $30,000.
Okay, this time I would ask the department head to come up and explain, because I had questions about this. I guess, what's happened?
Okay. So when we prepared the 2019 budget, we based it on the first 5 months of 2018 and took into consideration we would be purchasing like flu vaccine. So that gave us our annualized 2018 total expenditure for that account. And then we always mark it up with a percentage for increase in flu vaccine and that type of thing. So when we created our 2019 budget, that's how we came up with a number. But this summer, we have had an unusual summer. We had salmonella outbreak, hepatitis A outbreak, a crypto cluster, and pertussis. And we have had to purchase additional vaccine to vaccinate individuals that have been exposed or potential exposures. Hep A is an IV drug users that have most of the time have been in a jail facility. So we purchased additional vaccine, and we, our COs, kitchen staff, which we are going to bill to our health insurance, but we still need to purchase the vaccine. So that increased our account line.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions about this particular resolution? Okay. Thank you. Need a motion and second, actually. Mr. Ferris, is there a second? Mr. Drake, any further discussion? Okay. Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Third resolution is amending the 2019 county budget relative to public health department accounts. Sounds familiar.
Is there a motion, please? Mr. Nabuanek, the second. Mr. Drake, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I would ask our DSS commissioner to come forward now. She has some information to update us on concerning some programming. Lost
programming. And it's with a long sigh. The STEP program, the Solution to End Homelessness program, that's been grant funded to the county for 10 years. The next cycle of grant funding came up with an RFP this year, and we submitted an application, but we received word September 3rd that we were not going to be funded. So that's a loss of the funding to the county, a loss of a program that Watertown Urban Mission has run for us for almost the entire 10 years, and less than 30 days to shut it down. So there were a couple of things that were kind of frustrating about this particular RFP. It's a 5-year grant, so it'll be 5 years before we'll ever have the opportunity to apply for it again.
The ESG funds come through HUD, and there are certain localities across the nation that HUD directly allocates funds to, and then there are ESG funds that are allocated to the state for the state to then disperse to the other areas. In New York State this year, we had two particularly large counties that in the past have received that ESG allocation directly from HUD. They were Suffolk and Rockland County. So that meant that they now entered the pool that the rest of the state uses for the funds. So there was that piece. Of course, 40% off the top of the funding goes to New York City, which is not a big surprise, leaving 60% for the rest of the state. We won't get a full debriefing on our application until probably sometime in November. We did reach out preliminarily to our contact at OTDA to ask verbally. One of the answers we got was that our ask was more than the max. And we went back through that RFP. My grant specialist, I've spent the last day and a half going back through it, and what I find particularly frustrating is the lack of clarity regarding that maximum ask. I can't find anywhere that they say the maximum ask is $300,000. And I guess I'm frustrated that we got dinged because we asked, and our ask was higher because we based it on a program that we currently have running that is working very well in Jefferson County. So that was one piece, and again, the short time frame was the other big frustration for us. Annually, this program, which was a prevention and rapid rehousing program, prevention for those that were at risk of homelessness, assisting with rental assistance, utilities, security deposits, rental arrears, utility arrears, and then the rapid rehousing for those individuals that were homeless to get them into permanent housing more quickly. Annually, this program serves between 800 and 1,000 people in the county, which is quite significant. And majority of the population that it assists are not individuals that will automatically qualify for assistance through the department, which is why this program was so good. It was almost a safety net for that population that was at risk of homelessness and at risk of coming into our department if they did become homeless, to try to, as a stopgap, to help them get through a difficult time. So that loss of funding may result in us seeing more individuals coming in to the program. It is the HEARTH. HEARTH is funded with the STEP funds, yes. For the 5 years, if you didn't spend your yearly allocation, you could roll over. So our yearly allocation was $309,000 and some dollars. I think last year was the only year that we rolled over. We have made sure that we have used it all. It's a state RFP, yes.
Just a couple points of clarification. Mm-hmm. What she's referring to is the Emergency Solutions Grant Program, federal level, but it's the Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance that manages the program on the state level. They are the folks who put the application together who have now essentially cut us out of the loop. Mm-hmm. Because of those other two counties being added to our programming, the amount of money going to other counties has probably gone down some, but there is more money going to other counties. But when we're looking at $1.5 million, it's directly impacting homelessness. It's directly impacting the urban mission because that's where much of this programming is carried out. I think it behooves us to take up the chain to our state representatives and also reach out to the commissioner or OTDA and demand some attention in this regard because this is too critical of a program, as witnessed by what Teresa's just said. We use it every year. It's gone to 800 plus individuals. It's desperately needed. I've already talked to the Urban Mission. They're more than willing to work with us in some capacity, which we need to identify. We also need to reach out to other agencies to let them know officially what has transpired. But as Teresa's also indicated, the window was extremely short, so we're really caught off guard with this regard. But before it went out, any notes went out to other agencies, we want to make sure our board became aware of it. But I see this is something we have to go to the mat for. It's totally ridiculous that such a situation has surfaced.
Yes. 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 Yeah, and it's not just money for what I listed. We also had built in case management pieces so that Urban Mission actually had staff that were working on an ongoing basis for a certain amount of time with people receiving assistance that helped stabilize them. So there's the loss for that too.
For the moment, it's information for you because this is new information for us as well. But I would hope to put together some sort of a plan to do an outreach to our state reps to see if they can lend assistance. No guarantees, but I just think this is something we can't afford to ignore.
Thank you. Mr. Reed?
Is that 40% that goes to New York City, is that like a policy decision or is that a statute regulation? Or is it just a bureaucrat up the chain that makes that decision?
I'm not sure. It was in the RFP.
It'd be interesting to know. I mean,
I'm not sure. Yeah, any idea? No, it was just listed in the RFP, the breakdown. So.
it's somewhat discouraging, really. Every county needs that help.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Mr. Monticelli first.
Thank you, Chairman Peck. They have a new commissioner, the Office of Temporary Disability, right?
Yes, they do. Michael Hines?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so is this some, I mean, is he not, I mean, he's a downstate county executive, former county executive.
Yes, he is.
So does he know, do we have any relationship with him? The previous fellow, Roberts, I mean, he had some sense of the North Country and concerns here.
I mean, I've met him, but I don't have a relationship, but I think the positive of that is he was a county exec, and when I listened to the commissioner from that county, he feels that Mr. Hine has a really good understanding of social services and the programs that they run, so.
Mike, that's an excellent point. I'd forgotten about that. That's right. Yeah, Mike is a long-term county exec.
Mm-hmm.
Downstate, and county exec, he would certainly get the impact of why we need to fight back. Orange County, maybe?
No.
Ulster.
Ulster?
Ulster.
Ulster.
He did, he brought a dog and pony show here, and he went to the college and came up, I thought he was going to run for
Oh,
governor.
that's right, yes,
Yeah.
when he was running for office.
Thank you, Chairman.
Mr. Cantwell?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry, but did you say when we found out? What was the date that we found out?
September 3rd.
So a few weeks we've known?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question now. Is you say 800 to 1,000 people. Is that individuals? Is that families? And what's the actual, how do you calculate that? What's the breakdown?
Household?
Household?
Household.
So it could be 1, could be 10 people, household, correct. Okay. All right. Any other questions from members of the committee or other members of the board? Okay. Very discouraging, very unfortunate, but yeah, we'll coordinate a plan. Yep. Okay. Beyond that, there's departmental reports. And is there anything else further to come before the committee tonight? Okay. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Maxon, second Mr. Navalonic.
Would the county standing committee on finance and rules please come to order? Welcome to the September 24th meeting. We do have a presentation, but prior to the presentation, I just want to get to a couple of business items. One is offer privilege of the floor. So that would go well. And then the other was the minutes. Any changes, deletions, additions, corrections? They will stand as presented. So let's move on to the presentation. We have Dr. Danielle Dupe, Vice President for Finance, or Administration and Finance from Jefferson Community College, here to talk to us about a turf field that's been in their plans for 10 years?
2008, 11. Well, you did all spare yourself. I had a 35-slide PowerPoint that was all ready to go. So this will be maybe five slides. I'd like to say that I have Tom Finch with me, and he's our Vice President of Academic Affairs, and Jeff Wiley, who is our Director of Athletics. One of my other slides on there was how our turf field will stop the percussive outbreak. Well, perfect. We're done now. We're done. Okay. So, the funding for the turf field, as Mr. Montigelli said, we have had it in our facilities master plan since back in 2008. Obviously, it kind of fell down towards the end of the priority list as we did the Collaborative Learning Center, a lot of the other renovations on campus. But now that we see our athletic numbers and our numbers in our phys ed and our sports management program kind of declining, we see that this is something that we really need on campus. One, we don't do any of our spring sports other than softball, which we now have a new softball field on campus. None of the spring sports play on campus. We really don't have anything to do intramurals for our residence hall students outside of our gym. And Jeff can attest to this, our gym is packed during the year with any sports programs that we have, gym classes, any events that we have on campus, everything needs to funnel into the gym right now. So this is definitely something that would be very beneficial to us. From our educational programming standpoint, I mentioned our sports management program, our phys ed program. This will allow us to, one, provide field experience in our sports management program. It'll allow us to provide field experience in our phys ed program, along with additional sports programming for our phys ed program. And we have two different agreements, one with SUNY Cortland and one with SUNY Rockport for our phys ed program to go right in, and we can't get all of the sports that we need to into those programs currently. So a football, lacrosse, all of those we can't because we can't run those in the spring because of our fields currently. Also, some ancillary programs to that would be able to benefit from a turf field would be our criminal justice program, because security at events, that gives them field experience. We also have our HAT department that could benefit from this, from catering for right now national championships, all of those things. We've kind of been taken out of the mix for a lot of those programs because we don't have turf. Jeff has assured me that if we do get it, those will be in the bidding process to get national championships here, to get a lot of different things that we haven't had in the past.
Would you be willing to come to the microphone as well?
So currently, the soccer championships are in the Northeast. Herkimer Community College hosts national championships, and Tompkins Cortland does. And if you've been to those areas, it's not the best best experience for our student athletes. Here, if we hosted in the Watertown area, you have visits to the Thousand Islands, the river, different things to do in Watertown compared to those spots. And again, we could bid for those. It's not just national championships, it's regional championships as well. So there's a stepping stone, there's conference championships, and then regional championships, and then national championships, and for Division III and JCAA.
Thank you.
So along with that, we also looked at engineering, having the ability to, while something like this is being put in, get some field experience and seeing something like this for our engineering classes. The funding for it, as everyone I'm sure has seen, our FSA, which is our Faculty Student Association, which runs our residence halls, also runs our food service, our bookstore, and our child care on campus. They're putting up half of the money to pay the annual payment for the bond, and our foundation is putting up the other half. So it is revenue neutral for Phil. So we are paying the full amount of the bond on an annual basis for the life of the bond. Outside of that, we really appreciate anything that the board can do for us, and we look forward to putting this in place.
Perhaps a little bit more embellishment, because there's a part 2. We're being asked to approve a resolution that you're now taking to SUNY to then review the big plan. So it's next May, next April?
Yes.
Once you hit the approval, because we're talking $2 million out of a $4 million.
Correct.
package.
So our current process is we need to have 50% local share for capital. So this would be considered the 50% local share, and then what we do is we submit that on to SUNY. SUNY submits that in the overall SUNY budget request to the governor's office. The governor's office would have in January the executive budget. It could be in the executive budget as a line item. If it's not, then we would be going to the Senate and the Assembly to try to get it in the final one bill that comes out in April. So we would definitely know by April as of whether we got the other side of the 50%. Because this is we're putting it in as a revitalization and maintenance program, because it is truly revitalization and maintenance of our athletic fields. Along with, if we don't spend all $4 million of the dollars on this specifically, we will use that for parking, to update things on campus, so to do revitalization and maintenance projects on campus. So we'll be putting that in there. And again, the other 50% would come out of the actual governor's budget or the one bill that ends up coming out in April.
And from a practical standpoint, does that mean essentially construction 2021, summer of 2021?
It would actually mean summer of 2020.
Oh, really?
Construction, yes. That's what we're hoping for. We're actually hoping for, if we can get design close to where we need to, like starting right after graduation of this next summer.
And that's the information you'd like us to have?
Yes.
So then I'd like to see if there's any questions for you. Legislator McBride?
How is that for the athletes? You hear all these stories about the fields are harder, the rubber getting in their body, stuff like that.
To me, right now, we're in a situation where, from an athletic standpoint, even if you look around just the North Country, we are behind most of the high schools when it comes to athletic facilities. All the students that are coming from around this area play on turf, whether it's at the Y, whether it's at Watertown High, South Jeff, Copenhagen, TI, General Brown. We currently play all of our, so for us, it's really not any different, because we play our games currently on turf. We just play them at General Brown High School. So we play for lacrosse, for both lacrosses. Soccer, we're able to play a little bit at home. We do play some down at the fairgrounds. But as far as the physical piece of it, I mean, I'll defer to Jeff, as he's probably got more of the research on that. But do you have anything, Jeff?
The turf, once it's installed, they have companies that the people that install it do impact tests in different areas, and it has to get a certain rating, or like they'll go and fluff up all the pebbles and get the turf to stand up and things like that. So there is impact testing on all the turf. I know TI, after like 5 years, will probably have to go through that. Watertown, it's part of the insurance to make sure that they to a certain standard on the field.
Maintenance costs wouldn't be truly any different than what our current field is from a maintenance standpoint. We spend so much on grass seed, so much on people going out there and resodding areas. So that maintenance piece isn't. The big cost is in 15 years when you actually have to replace the turf. I mean, 15 is what they say. You could get away with 20, you could get away with 25, depending on how it wears.
But not 10.
We're hoping not.
I mean, you extended it significantly
Yeah.
there, but it's not something that could just all of a sudden wear out. And
We haven't seen it here locally. Most is all 15, some have been 18 to 20.
I just got a crash lesson from Legislator Nabawanek on the way in, so now I know what it is. Prior to that, I didn't even have an understanding of it. Anything further for Dr. Dupe? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As a matter of courtesy, I'd like to move to resolutions, but start with the resolution of commitment to JCC.
Resolution number 6, commitment of Jefferson County to issue debt for $2 million bond for Jefferson Community College turf field.
Have a motion, please. Legislator Nabawanek, Legislator Campbell. Discussion on the motion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
All set. Well, you're welcome to stay, but you're welcome to go.
Thank you again.
Back to the regular order of business, would be resolution number 1 in the listing.
First resolution this evening is payment of legislator expenses.
Motion, please. Legislator McBride, Legislator Drake, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Setting time and place for public hearing on tentative budget for fiscal year 2020.
Motion, please. Legislator Cantwell, Legislator Johnson, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing acceptance of offers to purchase real property acquired by tax foreclosure but not sold at auction.
Motion, please. Legislator McBride, Legislator Drake, discussion. Legislator Peck.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just kind of was curious about the process. Is this out of the ad hoc committee, or how did these parcels end up coming to fruition within this list outside of our typical auction process?
Well, I'd love to defer to our county attorney who oversees that, but his daughter has her 5th birthday today, so he's engaged with a celebration, so he's not here to answer the question. But in essence, what's happened is there were a couple of properties that didn't get sold at auction. In essence, what we tend to do, if it's a small parcel of land or something that's off the beaten path, we do the outreach to the adjoining neighbors through a sealed bid process. And that's the results of that is what you see here. In a couple cases, they're all of $1, but there are 2 cases where they're more measurable numbers. Overall, we're talking about $5,500 or $5,300. The last 2 are over $2,000. But again, it's the same process. So in those cases, there likely might have been some competition between neighbors. There are years that you don't see a resolution like this simply because everything's gone to auction. But beyond that, the specifics of why these particular properties, I really don't know.
So I guess I'll wait for David's answers then?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
We have a motion, and we had discussion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Next is increasing district attorney petty cash fund and amending the 2019 county budget.
Motion, please. Legislator Johnson. Legislator McBride, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Next, authorizing the chief elected official local government agreement under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act of 2014.
Motion, please. Legislator Nabalani. Legislator Cantwell, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Next is amending the 2019 county budget to recognize insurance recovery within the road machinery fund.
Motion, please. Legislator McBride. Legislator Johnson, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, resolution sponsored by the General Services Committee.
First is authorizing agreement and amending the 2019 county budget in relation to the fiscal year 2019 state Homeland Security Program grant.
Motion, please. Legislator Drake. Legislator McBride, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Next is amending the 2019 county budget to recognize insurance recovery within the road machinery fund.
Motion, please. Legislator Johnson, Legislator Nabalani, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Recognizing New York State Governor Traffic Safety Committee Police Traffic Services Program grant and amending the 2019 county budget in relation thereto.
Motion, please. Legislator McBride, Legislator Drake, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. On to Health and Human Services sponsored resolutions.
Amending the 2019 county budget relative to Public Health Department accounts.
Motion, please. Legislator Johnson, Legislator Drake, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Amending the 2019 county budget relative to the Public Health Department accounts.
Sounds repetitious?
Yeah.
Motion, please. Legislator Johnson, Legislator McBride, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. There are a couple of informational items attached. If there's no further business, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
Two more items, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
First, on your desk are the budget narratives for all of our departments, as well as for our public benefit agencies for you to begin looking at. And in a couple of weeks, we'll be getting the numbers that go along with that. But I thought we'd get a jump start while everybody was here this evening. For next week, we would like to see everybody here at 5:15. Of course, our board meeting starts at 6. However, next week will be our annual trek to the photographer, so only the photographer comes here, and we'll be doing our legislative picture, and we'll do that at 5:15. That said, all 15 of us will be together because I think, as you already know, Jenny Adsit will be with us, and immediately upon the picture taking, we'll have a reception in Jenny's honor, who will be retiring, of course, at the end of the year. And then we'll have a regular meeting at 6 o'clock. But all of that's dependent upon where'd he go? Bobby, where'd Bobby Ferris go? Yeah. Oh, okay. Upon everybody being here at 5:15. I think the last time around we waited for Bobby, that's right. Yeah. But anyway, that's the other piece of information, Mr. Chairman.
Would you repeat that? That's what I thought. I think that's something to do with coats and ties. Well, and a shirt if you're in a mind to hide. I can see the paper now. Oh my God.
As long as, one more item, sir, as long as you reference the fact that David's daughter turned 5, she turned 5 on a very momentous day, because there's one among us that also has a birthday today, and that would be Greg. So happy birthday, Greg.
Happy birthday, Greg. Any further business? Motion to adjourn? Legislator Drake, Legislator Johnson, all in favor? We are adjourned.
Very good, sir. How you feeling?
Pretty good.
So it wasn't, I have to share something. It wasn't overly taxing in last week at the conference?
No, it takes as long as it takes, but it's every day a little bit. In the beginning it takes better, but you feel so crappy you don't know you feel better. Now, incrementally better, I'm climbing stairs, no problem. Up, down.
Speaking of the conference in the hotel that you were at, Bill, did you end up getting a bill, or was it charged to the county? I ended up charging my credit card. How many times? You may want to double check. What happened in your case?
Come anytime, Joe.
I got billed twice.
Yeah.
Back to back, same date, but it was twice.
Put that back on for next.
So I called,
Yeah, it's a little different.
I haven't gotten a response yet. Did you get billed or did it go to the
I argued with those people who wouldn't give them my credit card, right?
Oh, all right, okay.
That's what I was raving about.
Well, now, well,
Oh,
I got billed twice, just yesterday. I called twice since then, and nobody's responded. But it's the guy that we ended up dealing with.
How annoying.
Well, but you may be right, Bill. Maybe I'm covering Mike's tab.
Well, thank you. You're a great guy, Bob. You're a great guy. I appreciate it. I've been going up to JCC and see the hospitality people and ask to speak in front of their class and tell them what the meaning of hospitality is. Because those people down there don't know hospitality. Or guest would be the other word they don't.
taking the stairs.